Hey there, and welcome to the Flow and Thrive podcast, where mastering your flow state unlocks a life beyond your wildest dreams. I'm Rini Khanna, your guide to merging ancient wisdom with today's world. So whether you're a spiritual trailblazer, holistic health champion, or you're ready to turn your dreams into reality, this is your playground. As an Ayurvedic herbalist, day trader, artist, mathematician, and dedicated mom, I'm all about helping women like you effortlessly manifest your dreams. So join me each week as I reveal spiritual traditions to level up your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your business. So are you ready to thrive? Let's do it.
Hey guys, and welcome to today's episode of the Flow and Thrive podcast. My name's Rini Khanna, and I'm your host. Today, I'm excited to share with you guys a concept that we have been playing with in our Flow and Thrive experience in our daily calls. And this is the concept of our South Node and our North Node. For anyone who's not familiar, this is looking at your natal chart. On all of our natal charts, we have something called the South Node and something called the North Node. And the South Node really gives us a glimpse of our natural tendencies. It shows us what kind of characteristics and personality we have developed based on our past lives. So things that we're coming into the world with, our natural tendencies. Our North Node is our direction. It's where we want to go, right? The compass always points north. That's the direction we're going in. So our South Node is where we've been. It's very comfortable for us. And our North Node is where we're going. What ends up happening is most of our unconscious behavior, our unconscious commitment is dictated by our South Node. It's dictated by where we've been, what we're used to, and what kind of responses and reactions we naturally tend to have in life. It taints our perspective in how we see things. And if you remember from last week's episode, how we see things truly determines what we create in our reality. It's all about perception. Our North Node is the exact personality traits and characteristics we want to develop to realize our deepest desires in life, to realize our purpose. And so we will always be attracted to our desires. Of course, that's completely natural. So we all have different desires in life. We will always be attracted to that. We will always be attracted to our purpose. But in order to attain it, we will have to play in our North Node energy instead of our South Node energy. And I want to make a huge distinction here. Your South Node characteristics are not necessarily traits that are bad, because some people's North Node is someone else's South Node and someone's South Node is someone else's North Node. It's just off balance. It's just personality traits that tend to take over. They're the kind of personality traits that you have been carrying through lifetimes, that they are so embedded in you that you don't even realize they're there. You actually think it's just a part of your identity. And in fact, that is the reason why they're so hard to move away from, is because our ego, which is always attached to our identity, our ego is holding on to these traits. But that is the very thing that's going to stop you from having what you want in your life. And why I wanted to share this with you guys today is because, first of all, before I go there, if you want to know what your South and North Node is, all you need to do is go online, go to any kind of website that will give you your natal chart. You could even try ChatGPT, put in your date of birth, and it will tell you your South and your North Node. So as a reminder, your South Node is where you're comfortable hanging out. Think of the compass, it points north. Your North Node is where you want to get to. It's the traits that you want to develop in this lifetime to fulfill your purpose and to attain your desires or experience your desires. So when we started playing with this in the Flow and Thrive experience, it was blowing everybody's mind at how accurate this was. And not only how accurate this is that when you see this about yourself, when you see what your South Node is and you start to look at your entire life, you'll understand how you have tainted it from a perspective that confirms the identity from your South Node. People who have the same South Node will also have the same North Node. If you have, say, for example, the South Node is Aries and your North Node is Libra, so you're going from independence to partnerships, you will look at your life from the perspective of confirming the identity of being a person who's independent. At the end of every day, for example, you will look back at the day and you will want to focus on the moments of the day that confirmed that identity. Anything you did that day that confirms the identity of you being a very independent person, which is great. But now this characteristic, this trait becomes so dominant that it makes it difficult for you to be in partnerships, right? Be any kind of partnerships, relationships. In business, this could be business partnerships or it could be clients. It makes that challenging for you. And so what ends up happening is that desire to hang on to the identity stops you from creating the opposite characteristics and identity, which will be needed to create your desire. And remember, manifestation is all about frequency. What creates your frequency? Like if you want to manifest your desire, your frequency must be a match to the desire. Now, to be a match to the desire means that the chemistry of your body has to match that outcome, which means your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, your standards must match. Now, if you have this belief that I am an independent person, it is very difficult to be a frequency match to a partnership if that is always dominating your thoughts, right? But because it's your south node, it will. It will. And it will blow your mind once you discover yours, how much of your life is spent just confirming this identity, just choosing. And I talked about this last week, guys, is that an event can occur. It has no meaning. Life has no meaning. We assign it meaning. And when you assign meaning to the events in your life, it will be from the perspective of confirming the identity of independence. Now, this is just one example. We have worked through many, many examples. I think we have almost all the zodiac signs covered at this point. Depending on what sign your south node is in, those are the characteristics that will dominate. Those are the characteristics that will stop you from having your desire because they dominate. Not because they're bad, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because they dominate, because they are in excess. And because they are in excess, your frequency cannot match your desire. And where this starts to get really, really interesting is if you start to look at the south and north nodes of the people you know, of the people who actually trigger you, of the people who help you and inspire you. Because when you look at their nodes, it's actually going to show you how it might trigger your south node behavior and force you to either go more into that or force you to become aware that that's where you're going. These people might call you out on it. They'll call you out. They'll show you that that's where you're going. And that in itself will trigger you. But when you look at your significant relationships in your life, you can start to see why you're triggered by certain people in certain ways. And the whole thing is because your ego is attached to this identity of the south node. It wants to hang out there because that's what feels comfortable for your ego. So your work is to become aware of this. Because once you see this, guys, you cannot unsee it. I have not worked with anyone yet that has seen this and cannot unsee it. It's like your whole life flashes before your eyes and you start to assign it meaning. You start to think about how I have in my life looked at every single thing that I've experienced, major events, relationships, memories, the kinds of memories that you hold on to and the stories you always tell everyone. You're telling them in a way that will confirm your south node identity. The identity you've created for yourself based on the characteristics of your south node. It's mind-blowing work. The reason that this is so important is because it's like the root cause of everything else, right? So when I started doing this work with my clients, when we discovered this, you have this discovery and you're like, wow, actually, this is like the belief. We compared it to, there's all this talk about the 1% elite that run the world and nobody knows where they are, who they are. They're deep in the shadows, but they run the show. That's what your south node really is. It's these characteristics that you have, and they're not deep in the shadow. You know exactly what they are. You're actually probably really proud of these characteristics. But at the same time, they're running the whole show. They're constantly hijacking every experience and using it as a way to confirm that identity for you because there's an awareness in you that this is what I'm coming here to change in this lifetime. These are the lessons I'm learning. This is the frequency that I'm learning to balance. So going back to the example I used, if it's independence to partnership, that is the frequency that I'm learning to balance in this lifetime. I'm toning down one and I'm turning up another one. That's the purpose of this life. So that south node is hanging on for dear life. And so those characteristics want to always be confirmed. They want themselves to be confirmed. So they look at every event from that perspective. when you realize this and you clear that, a lot of the other stuff that you think you need to heal, a lot of the other behavior patterns that you think you need to change, you actually don't need to change anything because those were all deflections. Those were all the things that your brain thought you should look at so that you don't look at this one underlying root cause, just like the 1% elite, right? They're always trying to distract you with something. That's how the theory goes. So they're always trying to distract you with something the same way that your South Node characteristics will distract you with something else. You actually have this desire to confirm your independence, and you might start thinking, well, I just have money blocks, or, I just have a limiting belief that other people aren't capable. No, actually, you just want to confirm independence, so you like to believe that. So once you get to this, it's like the root cause. It's like pulling the thing out at the root. All your other limiting beliefs just start to melt away by themselves very, very quickly. And you start to see how this was running the show in everything that felt challenging to you. It was this one characteristic, this one frequency that if you could just balance, other ones would start to balance themselves out very naturally. Doesn't mean you don't need to tweak them, but there's not a lot of stickiness. There's not a lot of stubbornness. The stickiness comes from this trait. So go look this up, go on ChatGPT, find your South Node, find me on Instagram, DM me, and we could talk about this in more detail, node by node. I'm happy to do some lives there. We do go into this in depth in the membership as well. So if you guys want to learn how to move through this and transcend this and start creating everything you desire in your life and your business, do check it out. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thanks for hanging out with me on the Flow and Thrive podcast. It's always a treat to dive deep and get real with you. Remember, guys, this journey is all about meeting and embracing the authentic version of you. So keep pushing your limits, keep having fun while staying true to yourself. And make sure to hit subscribe to keep all this good energy coming your way. Until next time, keep flowing and keep on thriving.